get started. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, December 17, 2024 Board of Education meeting. We have 5 of our 7 trustees present. We start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, before we start the meeting, we're going to have a small change to the order, slight change. Our students have midterms this week, so we're going to have their updates right after the recognitions, and then we can have them go and study for the exams. So,
all right.
Doctors, yes, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Nee. This evening, we have 3 items of recognition. The first is to honor the Athens High School and several students that are with us here today, as well as their sponsor, Deanna Fakori. It is with pleasure this evening that we welcome Carmen Tim from the American Red Cross, who is here with us to recognize Athens teacher, Deanna Fakori, and 3 students that she has with her. Talk to us a little bit about the work that Athens has done with blood drives and the many lives that they have changed and saved, for that matter, over the course of many, many years. So, Ms. Tim, if you want to come on up, as well as Deanna and students. Here we go. All right.
Hi, I am Claire Kilbride, and I am the Athens Stuco president.
I'm Maggie. I'm the Secretary of Activities of our Student Council.
My name is Willow Bonendorfer, and I am the Vice President of the sophomore class.
I was the chair of the blood drive most of my high school career, and I can tell you we do a lot of work to bring the community together and, most importantly, to save lives. At our last blood drive, we raised 33 units of blood, which helped save the lives of 66 patients. And we are proud to have the support of our community to do so. In addition, we would like to remind the community that we have 2 Eve drives coming up by the end of this year, one on Christmas Eve and one on New Year's Eve. College students home from college, other family members in town, we would love the community to come out to Evanswood Church and continue to support the life-saving work that we are partnering with the Red Cross to do. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Carmen Tim with the American Red Cross. I have 2 certificates to present this evening, one to the district for their participation and partnership with doing blood drives throughout the 23-24 school year. And this one is for Troy Athens High School specifically. Last year we collected 121 units over the course of the year, which is amazing. And we are bridging the gap. This team is bridging the gap between our blood shortages and having enough blood in the hospital when patients need it in case of emergency. This is truly a community effort. These students count on the community, especially the Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve drives. We need full community support to make them a success, and they can earn scholarship dollars for those blood drives as well, which is a huge boost for these students. So thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Mrs. Tim, we'd like to thank you. We'd like to thank you for being here with the American Red Cross, and we'd like to get a picture. So could we have the group come on over to the left here, and Ms. Montanti's going to get a picture? Thank you again for being here this evening, and thank you for your life-saving work. Next on the agenda is our mission moment to acknowledge some students from Troy High School and their teacher. To the podium, Mrs. DiPilato, to introduce the group.
Thank you, Dr. Macheski, Board of Education. I am honored tonight to be here to recognize a team of student leaders from Troy High School. But before I ask them to come forward, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the program that they participated in. Every year, the EF Educational Tours travels to a global leadership summit. The trip locations change yearly, but there is always a global theme that the summit is based on. Last year's theme was the impact of water on society in an attempt to better understand water's influence on transportation, agriculture, energy, and more. Students from Troy High are nominated by teachers, coaches, and are selected based on their leadership and their involvement in classes and activities. These students are selected because we are confident that they can represent Troy High on a global stage and work together with 1,200 students from across the world to solve important global challenges. At this time, I'd like to ask their faculty advisor, Mrs. Harriet Clark, to join me at the podium. It is important to express our gratitude for Mrs. Clark, as we know that our students are only able to experience such awesome opportunities when our outstanding faculty volunteer to lead these efforts. I can further attest to Mrs. Clark's magic in the classroom because I can attribute all that I know about public speaking to what I learned in her classroom almost 30 years ago.
Wow.
Mrs. Clark, thank you for all that you do for our students and the impact that you have on our lives. It is certainly indelible. Please share a little bit more about your students.
Right now, they're all saying she's taught for 30 years. Well, the EF trip is magical. The way it works, like Christine said, there's a different theme every year. These students participated in going to the French Riviera, Switzerland, and Germany, so that's an easy place to study. And they study the impact of water. So in the 10 days prior to the conference, they are learning or studying through, they took a perfume making class where they learn to make perfume, and then they learn about the waste in all of the trials that the perfume doesn't smell quite right, and then the waste of that. We went to a denim making factory and learned, they all said they would never wear their jeans the same again, in that every pair of jeans, every piece of denim has to be washed 26 times before it's made into jeans. And so again, the dye that's going into the water and what that does to our water usage and things like that. So they are going all around learning about the theme, and then they come together. It's culminated in the conference, which was in Berlin this year, and they come with 1,500 kids from around the world who've been traveling to all different places, also studying the impact of water. So when we were at the French Riviera, other kids are in Iceland or Poland or whatever, learning similarly. They get to the conference, they're all divided up. They're no longer with Troy High kids, they're in groups of 10 with kids from all over the world, and they talk about what they've learned, come up with a problem to solve, like we don't want that to happen anymore. And so they use design thinking to come up with how to solve the problem. They develop a prototype. They put together a 1-minute pitch that they pitch to judges. In that, they're also going to conferences and workshops. They're listening to speakers, Molly Kawahata, who is Obama's climate advisor, and other great speakers speak with them. And then they design these 1-minute pitches and they present their pitches. The winning pitch, out of, there's about 120 teams of 10, roughly. The winning pitch is in the Nobel Prize Museum in Stockholm, Sweden for a year. Wow. So for the last 3 years, we've had winning students, 2 of the 3 years, so that's pretty fun, impressive. Mm-hmm. We're proud of that. We're proud of that. This year we had 2 kids in the top 10, which is, again, very difficult when you think of 1,500 kids from around the world. So again, very proud of that. And the interesting thing to me is, so we're in Berlin, people from all over the world. And so when you introduce yourself, I'm from the United States, I'm from Michigan, and that's all I have to say. And everybody says, you're not with a group of kids who are just awesome speakers and awesome leaders. Every time I go in a room to watch kids, it's the kids from Michigan who are the rock stars. I'm proud of that. Troy High is very well known and recognized on the global stage with educators from Spain and Italy and Germany and all over. And so it's nice that they get some local recognition too, because they represent us well. You would be so proud to see them and their interactions, and it's not always easy. It's a tough trip. And they know that one of my favorite sayings is that we have to get uncomfortable. We never grow if we are always staying in our comfort zone. And so until we push ourselves and get uncomfortable, that's where we really learn. And they always talk about that after. Well, I was really uncomfortable during this, but my takeaway was so great. So I'm proud of them. I'm proud to be a part of the trip and the challenges. And I know I always say they come home changed in all good ways. And so I'm proud of that they take the risk to do that. So here they are. Thank you.
You want to introduce them here?
Do you want me to introduce them? Yeah, you guys.
Please. And then if they could come up, we have certificates for them.
Okay.
So if you want to introduce them, they come on up, and we have Ms. Ani and Mr. Hoff will present them with a certificate. If their parents in the audience would like to get a picture, please feel free to do so. Come on up. And then students, after you received your certificate, if you could please just kind of come stand in front. I've got it here. Yeah. Stand in front, starting like right about me here, and then we're going to get a picture of you all at the end. Good? All right.
So I'm going to read the names this way, so you're not going to be in order, but Ashley Karen. Anusha Gupta was trying to get here, coming from somewhere, but she's not up there. Ava Fleming. Josie Lito is not here yet. Katerina Zach is in Turks and Caicos, so we can't feel bad about that. Vivian Edoff is at orchestra. Nicole Gerase, I always say that wrong. Laith Hermes, Nainika Jasti, Kira McComb. I don't know if I'm going too fast. Shreyan Manny,
Scoot them over here.
Maya Saad, Neil Nagapala, and Tina.
All right, now parents can get a picture.
No. Maybe I went too fast.
Just a little bit, that's all right. We'll get a picture of all of them. Parents, come on up. If you would like to get a picture, feel free.
All right, I'll have you guys scooch in as much as you can. Get cozy. You want to come in? Thank you.
Thank you for being here tonight, Mrs. Clark, and your students. I know this is a busy time of the year with holiday right around the corner, but we appreciate you being here, sharing the outstanding experience that you and your students had an opportunity to be a part of. So thank you. Lastly, for recognition this evening is our student spotlight. I'm pleased to ask Mr. Butcher to the podium, and he's got a young man, a senior at Athens High School, Ryan Stasinski, who is going to recognize. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Macheski, and good evening, everyone. Before I share more about our student tonight, I'm sure others will be saying more later, and since I'm here now, I want to say thank you to Mr. Gary Hoff. Every conversation we have had has been about Creative Guild and your support of the arts. And not only that, but it turns out that Mr. Hoff has been on this board since before I started kindergarten at Waddles Elementary School. So, you've done a lot for me and for many others, and I thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Our student spotlight tonight is none other than Ryan Stasinski. Not only is he a member of the Athens Marching Band, but this past season he was simultaneously on the football team as well. That is quite the schedule. Now currently in swim, Ryan spends a lot of his time either playing sports or talking about sports. Ryan has been increasing his time behind the microphone, telling stories about our hockey team, Athens track, and many more on the way. He also has a personal podcast about our Detroit sports teams, Go Lions, and he is all in on calling games as a commentator. Tonight we'll be showing you some examples of his podcast and broadcasting skills, including clips from the recent SSAB basketball game. When I look at a student like Ryan, I get really excited about the potential of something we are not currently all in on, which is sports broadcasting. With Ryan, we have been dipping our toe, and he is helping us figure out what is possible. Last week, Ryan did an outstanding job doing play-by-play for the Rivalry Girls varsity basketball game. I was so excited to share his work on that game here tonight. Well, you'll have to take my word for it, because alas, his microphone was not connected.
Oh.
So I think we all can agree that one day a setup which allows us to monitor audio would be a worthwhile investment. Ryan's personality on the mic is a force to be reckoned with. We still have much to look forward to this school year, and we're very lucky to have someone like him inspire us to try something new.
Welcome back to Sidelines. I'm your host, Ryan Stasinski, and today we're looking at the 2024 Athens Boys Track and Field Team, who achieved things never before seen in the school's 50-year history. Track and field takes place in the spring in breezy, rainy, often wintry Michigan spring, and with several early season meets canceled due to the weather, an ordinary Athens track team may have taken some time to get up and running, but this was not an ordinary Athens track team. Here's Coach Tom Cook.
I'm kind of a superstitious guy, so as I'm looking at the roster coming back, and I'm talking to a lot of them, I was cautious to kind of tell them exactly what I thought they could achieve.
The team experienced a ton of individual success throughout the season. In fact, by the end of the year, school records broken included the 100, 200, 400, 1600, 3200 meter, 4x400, 4x800, and the long jump. There were so many records broken that rather than simply replace the placards, the school bought a whole new record board for the gym.
Welcome back to the Detroit Sports Show. I'm joined with Elliot. Hello. And we're going to be talking about not football this time, but basketball. The Pistons, worst team ever, and we get the 5th overall pick. 5th pick. 3 years in a row. It's just constantly, we get the 5th pick, and I don't know, it's just this lottery system. I hate the lottery system. I hate it.
That doesn't make sense.
Exactly, we're the worst team ever.
Stolen. Staff get the ball back, going the other way. In the paint, see if they can get some work in there. No. It's rebounded. Students get the ball. Fast break students. Can he gather it? No, it's no good. Makes a move, passes back, takes a shot, deep 3, and it's good. That is a way to start getting your offense going. Gotta go fast, gotta score quick, fast, and efficiently. Looking in the corner, takes a shot, and it's good. 3 points. Deflected. Students with a block going the other way. Students with the ball. Gotta get points off of this possession. Takes a shot. Off the backboard, but students get the ball back. Takes another shot. Goes up. That's good. 4-2. 39-34. Staff with the ball. Fast break. Looking for it. No good. Misses. Students with the ball. They need a 3. 5 seconds left. Takes a 3. No good. Takes a shot. No good. Staff get the ball. So close. That game is done. Wow.
In addition to that very exciting play-by-play he was doing, he was also working the camera. So good job, Ryan. That's a great first step in that. All right, so at this point, I'm going to open for any potential comments or questions from the board. But first, Ryan, if you'd like to say a few words, it is all yours.
For my game, I was kind of excited. I just got back from swim practice, so a lot of energy. I didn't even see that. That's probably the first time I saw it, though. I didn't know I had that much energy in there. But I mean, yeah, I don't really know what to say too much. I mean, thank you guys for having me here. I mean, it means a lot. Honestly, I kind of just started this in the middle of Mr. Burns' class, starting off with a podcast. Didn't think I was going to go anywhere with it, and then now I'm finding out what I like to do. So it's been a lot, and it means a lot. It's been a lot of fun along the way, too.
Any questions?
Is this something you want to pursue in the future, maybe, or college, or?
Yeah, I'm looking towards right after high school, going 2 years to community college, save some money, then probably transfer into Wayne State. Trying to make like a reel of the stuff that I've been doing, seeing if I can get into there and start working there. Just with the teams, trying to reaching out. Also this spring, last year I was in contact with the Michigan Panthers with the UFL, seeing if they need any work this year and seeing maybe if I could even work there in the spring and get some more experience there as well.
So what has been the most challenging project that you've worked on?
Probably the most challenging one? That's difficult. I'd say probably the track one. That one was going out and getting interviews. Not used to that. That was different. That was the first time I did it. But definitely set me up for the hockey one that I did this year. But yeah.
Any other questions?
Do you find that because you are an athlete, it makes the job of broadcasting more natural or easier for you?
Well, I don't really find it a job. I just find it just enjoyable. I mean, I just like going and I just like watching football. I mean, that's pretty much what I do every Sunday with my dad, is just sit on the couch, watch football, watch the game. So I feel like picking that stuff up makes it a lot easier. Really just watching it and listening to the radio when you're in the car, hearing the people talk about sports, makes it a lot easier to talk about sports when you're exposed to that all the time.
So you think watching others play is probably more helpful to broadcasting than actually being an athlete yourself, or?
I would say both help, but I would say probably watching and learning from other people is probably more where you're able to get with it, because I'm able to build stories upon what people tell me. I'm able to build stories upon the experiences that other people have had rather than my experiences.
Okay, great.
Wonderful. Any other questions?
Great.
Narita.
Question and kind of a comment. So me and Ryan actually went to elementary school together. I've known him since like Barnard. And I find this very inspirational because I remember like when we were little how much Ryan loved sports. Always with the Lions jerseys and everything, even when the Lions weren't playing that good. So it's really inspirational for me to see you pursue that passion and get to this point. So I guess like what advice would you give to your peers on how they should try new things and discover new passions?
I mean, originally when I was younger, I thought I was going to be the one playing sports. I thought that was going to be my main thing. And then, I mean, kind of just exposing myself to the entire world of sports was kind of the main thing. Giving myself the opportunity of going out and talking about sports. I mean, I'd sit with my friends, probably shouldn't say this in front of a board meeting, but in class, and talking about sports. But yeah, I mean, just realizing how much I enjoyed it. And just doing that, and I was like, maybe someone would listen to this. So that's kind of what I did. And then, yeah, it kind of just went from there.
Ryan, I have a question. Nope, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I have a question. So I tend to do this, and so I was wondering if you do it. As I watch as a spectator, sometimes I forget. You get so involved in the game, you forget that you need to commentate or you need to sit. Does that ever happen to you?
Yeah, that happens sometimes. I mean, I'll just get too into the game, and I'll just be watching it. I mean, I'm not going to lie, watching Dr. Marcheski's reaction on the bench, that kind of distracted me a couple of times. But, yeah, I mean, sometimes you just get into it and you forget that you're supposed to, because, like, I just like watching the sports and seeing it unfold. I mean, it's just fun to watch.
Do you make any mental cues to get you back to commentating?
More it's just like, I'll be like, wait, I haven't talked in a little bit. I gotta say something. So that's kind of where it's at.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, we do have a certificate. We have a certificate.
All right, we have a
Ryan,
certificate for you.
if you'd like to join. To the left, my left to right.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, we do the student
report.
All right, before we take a break, we're going to do our student report update, the student representative updates. Narita, you want to get us started? Bring us up to speed with what's going on at IA?
Let's do it. Good evening, everyone. I hope you are all having a terrific Tuesday. it has been a chilly yet cheery month at IA East with big events and extracurricular opportunities. But before getting into that, I want to share the success of the first ever TSD staff versus students basketball game that Ryan had just showed us with his commentating earlier. With a sea of fans in the stands, student and staff players from across the district unleashed their inner LeBron James. At the end of the night, the extremely kind-hearted student team, captained by Dr. Macheski, let Ms. DiPilato staff team win. But more importantly, the event achieved its fundraising goals to support the annual TSD Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. A huge thank you to the Superintendent Student Advisory Board and TSD admin, Ms. Montanti, Ms. Holmes, and Ms. Hendry for spearheading this new tradition. We look forward to seeing community members at the Day of Service on January 20th at Athens to carry on the legacy of Dr. King and engage in service initiatives to positively impact our community. Speaking of making a difference, back at IA, December began with our annual food drive, featuring a festive food-themed Spirit Week with Terrible Turtleneck Tuesday and Whipped Cream Wednesday. Amidst the holiday spirit, our social houses competed to see who would donate the most food to the One Troy Food Pantry. During the week, student government volunteers not only organized and transported our donations to the pantry, but also traveled to Baker Middle School to assist their web students with their food drive. At the end of the week, House Simus was crowned the winner of the food drive, and it left no crumbs after canning the competition with 4 back-to-back victories. Last but not least, over the past 2 weeks, our counselors and Peer Corps students have traveled to all 4 TSD middle schools to host 8th grade information sessions about the IA. As a student who was able to go to the Baker and Larson middle school visits, I greatly enjoyed sharing everything I love about the IA with prospective students and, of course, answering their creative questions. With midterms taking place the rest of this week, our students are deep in preparation for their exams and their celebrations after making it through the last 3 wake-ups before winter break. And that auspicious note marks the end of what I have with current news from IA East. Thank you.
Any questions or comments for narrator? Not? All right, Kristen, how are things at TCCHS?
Sure. So this past month at TCCHS, we are going to start with the classes that we've had and the advancements we've made within them. At our business math class, we have worked with the Troy Police Department to start giving back to Operation Blue Slate, in which we have our field trip this Thursday to help hand out gifts to the Troy community. Teen Clean Closet is still up and going for people to donate hygiene products. And the laser cutter, which was bought with funding for our school, is now up and operational, so we can cut out and engrave different items, whether it's to sell or to raise funds, anything like that, or just to have around the school. Tomorrow is the Woods Craft field trip with Mr. Fless's woodworking class, where we're gonna get to go see how to use a lathe and what a more in-depth wood craftsman may be doing with their time. In terms of clubs, the student council has started Spirit Week, which is going on this week. Yesterday was Character or Crazy Hair Day. Today was Ugly Sweater Day, in which people will tell you Mr. Flessa won. I will tell you Rainwater won, because Mr. Flessa decided to tape a picture of me to his sweatshirt. So I'm gonna tell you Rain won. Tomorrow is Anything But Christmas Day. Thursday's Pajama Day, and Friday is Great Colors Day. For starting a new club next semester, Tabletop Club, which is being ran by a student, Lucas, and a teacher, or building sub, Mr. Vanderson, which is going to be games like Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, such as those. And Woman of Tomorrow today did yoga, and on a little bit of a more serious note, they started Men of Today, which was the first meeting of what's looking like to be 4, because we've had a few issues of men, or the students at our school, not really knowing how to behave and treat others with respect. So all the male teachers at our school got together and decided to have a group to talk about better ways to treat our peers. And that's all that we have this month.
Thank you, Christian. Any questions or comments for Christian? Not,
So what's your payback for having your picture on?
To be fair, I did not tell the full story. Yesterday, I did say he used to be handsome. So I think he got his payback, actually. But
That's funny.
Wonderful. That is funny. We have Maddie Miller here, who's representing us for Troy High. Maddie, what's going on at Troy High?
Okay, so as mentioned in our last meeting, our vision for the year to unify the Troy High community in all its different groups. So for example, we started some new things. So this week is Cozy Countdown for Holiday Spirit Week, featuring Spirit Days from Pajama Days all the way to Kurth Day to honor our assistant principal, Melissa Kurth, who is retiring after the semester. This year, from leadership and student government, we have a brand new program called the Troy High Culture Fair. With such a diverse student body, we provide a space for students to learn about other cultures. This will take place on December 18th during all lunches, and students will be able to share and embrace their cultures. So as mentioned in a previous meeting, we have a number of charities in the running, and we selected our recipients for our 2025 Activist Week. This year, we will be sponsoring the WAVE Project, which is a mobile shower service based in Metro Detroit. Peer Mediation, their toy drive to make the holidays more and more special each year for their families in the communities are taking place right now. And then for the special education program, they took a trip to the Great Lakes shopping outlets yesterday to bond even more with their mentors in the 4th hour leadership class. And the first unified basketball game is actually taking place tonight at 6:30 in the Troy High Gym. On Saturday, December 14th, 133 business students attended the DECA District 7 competition, and our DECA program will send 100 students to the state conference, which will take place in mid-March in Detroit. Go Colts, and have a wonderful holiday season and a happy new year.
Thank you. Any questions for Maddie? Deanna, how are things at Athens?
Good evening, members of the board, staff, students, and families. Thank you for the opportunity to share some of the recent updates from Athens High School. First, we've had a successful Athens Festival Art and Craft Show last Saturday, featuring over 5 talented crafters and exhibitors. It was a wonderful opportunity to display the creativity in our community. On December 6th, we held a coffee house event. This event is where students can show off their talents in music, poetry, and performance. From our performing arts department, we have had a variety of concerts this season, including band, orchestra, and choir performances. And these events have been spreading holiday cheer across our school and community. In athletics, congratulations to our wrestling team, which opened its season with a victory over Troy High for the first time in 12 years on December 11th. Our Athens girls basketball team hosted Coaches versus Cancer game, which was an exciting victory, winning by 4 points with the final score of 49-45 against Troy High again. Athens High School also hosted the TSD Staff versus Students basketball game recently, and we are looking forward to our own Athens Staff versus Student basketball game on December 20th during our 6th hours. On January 14th, we will hold the second session of Athens Family University. This program provides families with resources, tools, and strategies to support their student success. Finally, we're excited to announce that our Student Council has selected Next Step for Seniors as the charity for this year's Athens Charity Week. The formal presentation will take place on Friday, December 20th. And that concludes the latest updates from Athens High School. Thank you and happy holidays.
Any questions for Deanna? Not, okay. We are going to take a 5-minute break, giving a chance for people to leave if they don't want to listen to our boring board stuff. Thank you. Let's get started. So next item on our agenda, additions and deletions,
There are none this evening.
and public communication on agenda items.
There are none on agenda items.
All right, so next is general consent agenda. We are asked to consider the minutes of the November 12, 2024 Board of Education workshop, minutes of the November 19, 2024 Board of Education meeting, the treasurer's report of October 2024, and the budget amendment number 1D. Mr. Huff?
Be it therefore resolved that the Troy Board of Education takes action to approve items A, B, C, and D of the consent agenda.
Support.
Mr. Huff, moved by Mr. Huff, supported by Mr. Huff. Any questions or comments? No. If there are no questions or comments, what do I say? Everybody in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Say aye. Okay. Opposed, say no. All right. Yes, thank you.
Good to go.
All right. Next item on our agenda, personnel.
There is no personnel this evening.
Our next item, item number 7, curriculum.
There is no curriculum this evening.
All right. Our item number 8, business considerations. We have 2 items to consider. Mr. Trudell.
Good evening, Board of Education. So tonight we have 2 items on the agenda for your consideration. The first being playground equipment purchase. So we're doing the other 6 elementary schools this year. So we did have 2 bidders come in, so they're each going to do 3 of the buildings for the equipment. So the total for this project is $2,566,375.57.
We have a resolution, please. Mr. Huff.
Be it therefore resolved that the bid for playground equipment and installation be awarded as follows, and that this amount be approved as an expenditure of the 2023 Capital Projects Fund. Sinclair Recreation Game Time Playground Equipment Contractor Number 1 for $1,246,295.60. Mid-State Recreation Play World Playground Equipment Contractor Number 2 for $1,320,079.97 for a total of $2,566,375.57.
Support. Okay, I will say Ms. Elish. It's moved by Mr. Huff, supported by Ms. Elish. Any questions or comments?
So just for the public, because we talked about this at the workshop. So it's last year we had one contractor doing all 6, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so this year it should go a little bit smoother with breaking up the project between the 2 different.
We split it up this year, 3 and 3, in hopes that it will go better, and then obviously you learn that first go around through where you can make some efficiencies and things perhaps that you didn't order ahead of time that we did this time, so it should go quicker. Yes. And obviously weather dependent.
Yeah. Right. Any other questions? Comments? Okay, everybody in support, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed, say no. All right. Passes, should I say resolution
Yep.
passes?
Resolution passes.
Yep.
So
All right.
the second item on the agenda for your consideration is the site work component to the playground upgrades. So again, we're doing Costello, Hamilton, Waddles, Leonard, Schroeder, and Wasp Elementary. So the site work proposal is all-inclusive, and as we had just discussed, the contingency for this was also a little bit less because we did learn the first go-around what we do need in this project, so we were a little more comfortable lowering the contingency amount from 10% to 8%. So this total package with contingency is $3,767,447.16.
Wonderful. May I have a resolution, please? Dr. Fulbert?
Be it therefore resolved that the bid for playground site work be awarded as follows, and that this amount be approved as an expenditure of the 2023 Capital Projects Fund. Site work 1 for Costello, Hamilton, and Waddles to Centora Services for $874,537. Site work 2 for Leonard, Schroeder, and Wass, Cordis Brothers T&E for $961,100. Landscape 1 for Costello, Hamilton, and Waddles, Centoro Services, $426,000, $490. And then Landscape 2 for Leonard, Schroeder, and Wass to Delco Landscape in the amount of $495,250,000. And then Asphalt Paving to Asphalt Specialties in the amount of $731,000 for a total bid amount of $3,488,377,000, and the contingency of $279,070.16 for a total amount of $3,767,447.16.
Support. Ms. Solis, moved by Dr. Philippat, supported by Ms. Solis. Any questions or comments on this? Mr.
When
Robb?
will consideration for playground equipment on A and B begin?
So typically, the contractors, Barton Mallow, they work with each building principal. Some buildings are able to give up a certain portion of the playground equipment at an earlier date, perhaps at the end of May. That'll get some of the demolition component going. So again, we don't want to disrupt too much of the school day, but we work with individually each building to make sure that we can start a little earlier if we can. It just gives us a better chance of finishing on time.
Any idea on the date? So earlier than start of summer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah. Most of it will kick off obviously after summer, the heavier site work, but the initial demolition piece would start before the end of the year.
All right. Any other questions or comments? If no questions or comments, all those in favor say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Opposed, say no. Resolution passes. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Trudell.
Thank you, Mr. Trudell. All right, next on our agenda is public communication on non-agenda items.
Yeah, I'll do my
Okay,
part
you're
first.
gonna, oh.
Yeah.
Kendra, okay.
Go ahead, yeah, thanks.
Dr. Macheski is going to give a brief update on the attendance area review.
Thank you. Yes, we have several community that would like to speak on attendance area review or attendance area adjustment, potential attendance area adjustments this evening. So similar to last month, I thought it was be helpful to just kind of provide an update as to where we are in the process in order to potentially answer some questions, although I know many in the audience, or some in the audience at least, were here last month. Some that will be watching at home have not, or watching at their leisure have not. So this will provide us an update by way of, again, where we are in the process. Hold on, let me turn that on. There we go. Okay, all right. So just by way of background, and this is very short, but just by way of background, usually about every 5 to 10 years, we're looking at bringing together a group of the community to consider our attendance areas, look at our enrollment projections. We ask them to review those projections with us, with Plant Moran, who is the group that helps do our projections. This is a very common practice for districts to engage in, especially large districts where there are ebbs and flows of demographics across the district. Just by way of interest, several large districts are going through this process right now. Utica Schools just completed it. Rochester is doing it. Wall Lake is doing it. Again, a very common practice that districts are expected. It's best practice, quite frankly. Districts should be going through, again, every 5 to 10 years. And you can see in the Troy School District, we brought together a group to look what we call our Attendance Area Review Committee, to look and consider our attendance areas, our enrollment projections, and so forth. We did that in 2015, and we did that again in 2018. In 2015, there were no recommended changes, and the board accepted that presentation. or those recommendations from the committee. In 2018, there were very few couple minor recommended changes that the board accepted and administration implemented at that time. I think it's also important to note that in 2022, we brought together what we call our Facilities Review Committee. That was about 62 members of the community that came together over the course of 6 months, and that was the group that ultimately put together the proposal that came to the board that resulted in the bond issue in November of 23, the $555 million bond issue. I put that in there because I think it's important that the community know, as part of that, as part of that process, the group ultimately recommended a new middle school. That was the new Smith Middle School. They also recommended renovations to both Bolin and Larson as part of that process. And ultimately, those recommendations were gonna reduce the size of capacity within those buildings, at least Bolin and Larson. We also had a double split that currently exists at Troy Union that we're looking to address through this process. Important also to have some perspective. Currently, we have about 860 students at Larson, about 840, a little over 840 students at Bolin Park. We have about 620 students at Baker, and we have 600, just over 600, I think 602 at Smith currently. So if you look at those numbers, what you see there is a difference of 200 plus students between our largest middle schools and our smallest middle schools. And what that creates is it creates an imbalance in terms of those schools' ability, in particular the smaller schools' ability to provide some of the same programming. For instance, our fine arts programming, it does put some challenges on some of our elective programming. It is also has an impact on clubs and athletics and things along those lines. So ideally, what we'd like to do is balance those buildings as best we could, and that's as best we can. And that's why we brought the Attendance Area Review Committee together just this past October, and we'll talk about where we are in that process. Another question that has been raised by the community is basically, well, why are we where we are in terms of enrollments across the school district? And it's a really good question. As I have been sharing with the community over the course of the last several years, Michigan is one of many states, and Troy is one of many school districts that are experiencing a downturn or a reduction in enrollment, and primarily because of the birth rates across Michigan and ultimately the United States. There are just fewer families having fewer children. As a result, we're seeing fewer kindergarten-age children than we are graduating. So we're graduating classes of about 1,000, and we're seeing where we were seeing kindergarten classes of 850 and more about 5 years ago. Those numbers are now into the mid 700s. About 750 or so kindergartners coming in. So you can see over time that has an impact on your enrollment across the school district. So that's what we're experiencing. The other thing we're experiencing here in Troy is the board made a conscious decision several years ago to draw back on schools of choice. For many years that we were bringing in schools of choice students across the district or at kindergarten and first grade to the tune of about 100 students a year. Those students are now aging through, or they're making their way through the school district, and they are graduating. So as we have students graduating, schools of choice students graduating, we have very few schools of choice students coming after them because the board has engaged in a very limited schools of choice program. So that is another factor. We have fewer schools of choice students coming into the school district. So when you put those two things together, what we're seeing is a reduction in students, and that's why we are projecting 2,500 students at the middle school total, about 2,542 middle school students at the middle school level and around the fall of 26. So with that in mind, recognizing those numbers, we felt it was important to bring an attendance area review committee together again to consider what options we might have. I mentioned as part of the bond, we are building New Smith Middle School to the capacity of about 750 to 800 students. Bolin and Larson will also be renovated to the tune of about 750, maximum 750 students, and that's in response to what we anticipate our middle school enrollment looking like 3 years from now and leveling out from that point moving forward. As mentioned, Bolin Park, as we've mentioned to the community, Bolin Park will go into Old Smith Middle School after New Smith Middle School is built, followed shortly thereafter by Larson after those renovations are complete. Some other questions have been raised about programming across our middle schools. I'm very pleased to be able to say and have said on multiple occasions, we're very fortunate in the Detroit School District to have 4 middle schools that are rated amongst the tops in the state of Michigan. Whether you look at niche ratings, Metro Parent Rankings, which just came out, puts all 4 of our middle schools in the top 6 in the state of Michigan. There are other ratings that are out there, the U.S. News and World Report and so forth, that are certainly, that identify our middle schools amongst the tops in Michigan. I think we have very much to be proud of here in the Troy School District, and we're pleased to be able to offer quality programming to our families across all 4 of our middle schools, our elementaries, and of course, I think you heard tonight from our students, the quality that takes place at our high schools. And again, very fortunate in the Troy School District. So with that in mind, to kind of put some context around the decision to bring forward our Attendance Area Review Committee, we asked them to consider 3 goals. The first 2 were right-sizing the middle schools. And so back to what I indicated, we've got a 200 delta difference between our largest and our smallest middle schools. How might we balance those moving forward? Secondly, to resolve a double split that has occurred in the district at Troy Union Elementary. It has occurred over many, many years, and we would like, if possible, to resolve that. And lastly, the charge of the committee was to make no changes to high school attendance areas. So those are the 3 goals that the committee had when they came together. The committee has finished their 5th meeting. So they had 5 meetings. They have since finished last Monday, they finished their 5th meeting. We are in the process now of finishing phase 1. So phase 1 was discovery. That was bringing the committee together, sharing information with them, getting feedback from them. We're in the process of completing getting feedback from that group. And with all of that feedback, we will put together potential recommendations that will come to the board in the form of a presentation in January. At our January workshop, January 14th, the board will see that presentation that will provide them the opportunity to ask questions, to direct administration back, whether it be to gather additional information or to engage the community in additional feedback. And so you see phase 2. Should we move beyond phase 1 into phase 2? That is the presentation to the board. And then the board, again, determines if we will move forward from at that point. Should we be directed to move forward between February and April, we will hold informational listening sessions for families across the district. The idea would be to hold a meeting at each of the 4 middle schools, invite the community from those 4 middle schools to come in. We will provide the same presentation we provided for the board with whatever adjustments they've asked administration to make. And we will then solicit information from the community at that point. We are also preparing a survey that will go out to the community. There may be some that aren't able to attend those meetings. This will be an opportunity for the community to provide additional feedback should they wish to. The intent here is to be completely transparent through this process, provided ample opportunity to provide feedback through the process. We started this process in October knowing that any recommended changes would go into effect in fall of 26. We did so with the idea that we would have 18 months to engage in a process, get feedback from our community and so forth. So we, again, wanted to be completely transparent through this process. Ultimately, should we move to phase 4, around the April-May timeframe, the Board of Education would hear the summary feedback and determine if any future changes would be made. That would be done at a public board meeting. Okay, so we are currently finishing phase 1. We've got a long way to go at this point, and I would certainly just welcome the community's patience as we work through this process. Next steps, as was mentioned, February and March, we would be looking at community feedback as well as a survey. March, April, continuing that work, and then ultimately April and May, feedback from the board, or to the board. Okay. So similar to last month, felt it was important to share where we are with the Attendance Area Review Committee, and any additional questions, comments can certainly be directed to my office for additional feedback.
Thank you, Dr. Macheski.
You're welcome.
That was a detailed presentation. If any of you who have requested to address the board, if this information was sufficient and you would not want to address the board, please let us know when we call your name, and we can take your name off. So everybody has 3 minutes to address the board. Start off with Joey Colby, number 1. Give me a second, let me try and get this going.
Tell how many speakers do we have tonight?
8, I believe.
Or 7.
7.
7.
Go ahead, Joe.
Hi, my name is Joey Colby Bernert. I am a resident of Troy, a clinical social worker, and I have 6 members of my immediate family currently attending school in the district, with 2 more on the way in the next 4 years. I'm also a graduate student in the College of Human Medicine at Michigan State University, where I am pursuing a master's in public health. In both my studies and professional experience, I have examined the effects of burnout and provided clinical support to healthcare workers and educators who have suffered from burnout. Gallup released an article in 2022 that showed that 44% of K through 12 workers reported feeling burned out at work, the highest level among all professions surveyed. Teachers are facing increased workloads, mounting expectations, and growing stress. In Michigan specifically, teacher attrition rates have steadily risen over the past decade, placing even greater pressure on the educators who remain. 4 months ago, the Wall Street Journal released an article titled "Teachers Are Burning Out on the Job." This is an ongoing issue that significantly affects classroom instruction, student engagement, and overall learning outcomes. The International Journal of Educational Research found that teacher burnout is associated with worse academic achievement and lower quality student motivation. Teachers need the support and resources necessary to address these challenges. The data is clear. When teachers are overburdened and unsupported, it harms the educators and the students they serve. This is not a reflection of the teacher's dedication, but of an unsustainable system that does require attention. I'm requesting that this administration and Board of Education explore tangible solutions to combat teacher burnout. Specifically, I encourage the expansion of employee assistant programs, EAPs, to provide mental health and wellness support to our educators. I encourage that we look and examine at providing paid mental health days to our teachers, as well as the addition of administrative aides in classrooms to reduce the non-instructional workload. These steps are practical, achievable, and evidence-based. They will allow our teachers to focus on what they do best, educating and inspiring the students in this district. Our teachers deserve the support necessary to thrive, and our students deserve the quality education that results from it. I'd like to thank you for your time and consideration, and also I'd like to thank Secretary Hoff for the 26 years of endearing service and dedication that he has provided to this district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Colby. Okay. What did I do? Sorry, I did something. I don't know what I did. Oh, there we go. All right, next up, Mr. Sudeep Das.
Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to speak today.
So I understand from the update that the redistricting proposal will be presented in January. I did want to point out that the email from December 6th mirrored the presentation that we just saw, so it's good to see. But I do want to point out that the mailer that we got last week said that the initial presentation was going to be this month with a final decision in January. I get that mistakes happen, but it's following the initial communication of this redistricting plan through PTA meetings, not through communication directly to the families that are potentially affected by this. It also doesn't help that the community already has a growing concern that the district leadership isn't actually going to consider our opinions on this topic. So to give you my story, we purchased our home in 2015 with specifically looking at the schools that we were going to, our children would be attending: Hamilton, Bowland Park, and Troy High School. We've renovated, we've done plenty of other updates to our home, and we're committed to Troy, both the city and the school district. But I want to be clear, had somebody 10 years ago told me that our home would be reassigned from Bowland Park to another middle school in Troy, we would not have purchased the home. We're homeowners. It's not easy for us to move. We're not just renters who can easily just go to a different location based on the schools or any other factors. It's important that the district understand that we're committed to living here. We're committed to our home. We're committed to the community. We can't just change because the board makes a decision that we don't agree with. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Zinjin? Yes. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Xinjin. I'm here to talk about the concerns I have for the ongoing school district rezone process led by the superintendent. Just a quick comment on the report that superintendent just made. Did your enrollment projection prediction works? Can it predict the current uneven enrollment happens nowadays? It's a failure. So I would suggest don't do any projections and solve the issue we are facing, not generate new issues based on the wrong goals. Anyway, today I only focus on the process that has been done so far. Every step of this rezone process should be open to the public with clear, accessible information about how decisions are made and why the certain changes is being processed. Unfortunately, that was not been the case here. Some point I want to make. Firstly, the rezone process didn't provide sufficient background information to the public. Many parents simply do not know the meaning of the attendance area review committee and why it mattered to their life. Okay, don't forget that Troy is one of the top diverse communities in Michigan. There's 30% of residents are immigrants. So you try to assume they know the meaning of this AARC by looking at the small page on this email. That's not gonna happen. And then not even mentioning there's a very short time window for register for this committee. We want to make sure parents are reached out and provided by the detailed information regarding this rezone. So the process so far is against the diversity. Secondly, the voice of the families who will be most impacted by this rezone are not being adequately represented. From the beginning, moving Hamilton to Smith District seemed to be the only option proposed. In a strange way, we started to hear about this one 6 weeks ago from a PTO meeting. Okay, I don't know if that's a standard SOP of this review committee. But anyways, no detailed information so far has been released, such as the meeting minutes of the committee and how these options are decided and what other potential options are. The superintendent and the rezone committee have the responsibility to engage with every people who will bear the consequences of these changes. This lack of representation is not only frustrating, but it also undermines the trust between the school district and the community. And the process is against equity and inclusion. The DEI we talk about every day, we champion in our schools, should not stay as a talking point. So I urge the school board and the superintendent to pause this process and ensure that the reason is not only transparent, but also fully inclusive to all families who will be
Thank you,
affected.
Mr. Chen. Thank you. Mrs. Yamin Lo.
Good evening, Choice School Board members. My name is Yamin Lo. My two kids graduated from Hamilton Elementary School and Boland Park Middle School. I'm here to express my strong concerns about the plan to redirect all Hamilton Elementary School students to Smith Middle School. First, this plan breaks a long-standing tradition we have established in our family, in our community with Boland Park Middle School. From the day we moved in this neighborhood, it was clear which school our kids would attend. This tradition has created a strong emotion, community connections. Sending our kids to Hamilton, then Boland Park is not just a routine, it's a shared experience that generations of family deeply valued. You cannot just simply break this bond with cold enrollment data and a new school building. It's very unfair and emotionally distressing for the families and students who long look forward to attending those schools. Second, it's actually really important. This redirection will threaten long-term damage to the entire Troy School District. Family choose Troy for excellent school and also stability. Changing school boundaries create uncertainties and threaten the school district's reputation. Remember, when parents feel unheard, they will look somewhere else. After honor program was removed, many current families enrolled their kids in Avondale Gate Magnet School. This school recently created 100 slots for open house visit. Those slots are filled in 2 hours. It's not surprised. Very possibly in the near future, this school will expand their elementary session, middle school, maybe they will start high school. So I don't really want that happen to our Troy school. Additionally, there are many new families, they decide to choose a different school district like Rochester Hills, Nova, instead of Troy. Personally, how can I recommend my friends to move to Troy when even the school boundary cannot be trusted? I couldn't tell them in 20 years, the school boundary will remain same. When parents lose confidence in the school district's ability to make consistent, sustainable decisions, they will leave. And this redirecting plan will only accelerate this trend. It raises serious questions about the district's leadership and its commitment to the community's need. Troy risks losing its position as a top choice for families that would hurt all of us. In conclusion, I urge the board to reconsider this plan, maintain the tradition, stability, and trust in our school is very important for the future.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Mei Lee. Dr. Lee. Johnny.
Good evening, everyone, and Dr. Macheski. On November 19 board meeting, you addressed the public stating.
Mrs. Lai, this is your opportunity to speak.
Yeah, your time's running out, and I think you are the one who needs to speak.
Because we wanted to make sure that the process was clear, it was transparent, it provided for community input, and that the board had ample opportunity to make a decision based upon the information that would be brought back to the group. Because we wanted wanted to make sure.
And I immediately thank you, Chesky. You just mentioned about the transparency, and also if you would like to communicate with us, our parents, to get fully participate in, you would give us enough time to participate in all the process and talk about the details. Chesky, you just so we, the parents, trust you and approached this with open minds. However, after 3 weeks, what we received is the One Choice group email stating that the attendance review committee has completed and finalized a few potential options for the board to consider. And today, you jumped in to talk about it, which is not listed in the agenda. So it's not, again, no transparency. So with the promised transparency, where was the community input? We had no opportunity to participate in or even understand the process before some options were finalized. We had 75 minutes one-on-one meeting on Thursday, right? And yes, a small committee of 24 individuals participated in the review committee, which only include 10 anonymous parents. We don't know who they are. However, our district serves 12,000 students and over 20,000 parents, meaning the group represents just 0.0004 of the parent population, and that doesn't even consider more than 87,000 residents in our community, most of who are unaware of what's happening, bringing the representation down to a merely of 0.002. Truly impressive math, excellent choice. For these reasons, I strongly oppose any choice rezoning proposal that include the majority, or exclude the majority of parents, community members, and residents from the review process without meaningful participation and transparency. Some proposals are invalid and unacceptable. I don't mind about the time, okay? And lastly, I urge to avoid wasting taxpayers' money. Please make the financial reports related to these decisions
Ma'am, thank you. Thank you.
Troy is excellent, not because of...
Your time is up, ma'am. Thank you so much.
So please
Thank you.
don't value too much. It's about excellent parents, excellent kids, excellent teachers, and excellent
Okay.
And you cannot represent us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wei Lang.
Hi everyone, I'm also a mom from the Hamilton Elementary School, but I'm here also express my concerns regarding the proposed school district rezone. I'm here to oppose this proposal on significant grounds that deeply impact our students and families. First,
I can't hear her. Yeah,
oh, yeah. First, this proposal has been generated without any publicly visible data or formal analysis. Even today, we only saw is the background and the goals and the process. It's lack of why. What's the benefit of that? It's crucial to ask, have we seen how similar proposals have been performed in other school districts? What are long-term and short-term influence on students and families? It feels like we are being asked to jump into the unknown. Simply send students from one school to another one. Enrollment cannot generally balance student enrollment or resolve the boundary issues. It may just shift the problem from one school to another. Instead, we should focus on some thoughtful solutions, such as maybe decreasing the quality disparity among schools, evaluating growth areas, and allowing the demographics of our community to naturally evolve to achieve this balance. It is important that we understand the implicity of this proposal to avoid making decisions that could disrupt the educational environment for our children. Secondly, I must express my strong concern over this community's apparent disengagement from the voice of the families of all Troy, especially most affected by these decisions. The selection today I heard is closed, complete phase 1, which is like discovery, but I never received any emails from my mailbox, from my email, from school. Even this I didn't receive. I'm a long-term resident. I live here for 6 years. And the selection process for this committee appears to be in confusion and lack of visibility, raising questions about how representative these decisions truly are. Our voice, our Troy residents' voice matters. A lack of transparency and input is unacceptable. We deserve basic respect and the opportunity to contribute to discussion that will ultimately shape the educational path of our children and the communities we all cherish.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Sibo Hu.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm not repeating a lot of idea. I think we share the same comment for the school reason. So I just gave some like a concern. Like one is the way how you public the information, because I think most information is shared with the parents who had kids enrolled in the current public school. But like my neighbor, she is homeschool, but she planned to attend middle school in the future, but she have no information be shared. So I think that's not good for the resident. Also, I have friends just moved in our community and have a young baby, and she doesn't know that either. So she will be surprised. I pursued home, attend this middle school, why enroll, and suddenly happen, oh, I cannot attend that school. So I think also for the future meeting, we should share the information not only inside the school district. It should be more like maybe like you public some information in your main homepage, pop out to notice there is a meeting, there is a change. So when the people purchase home, they also study this school, right? So notice the public. And another thing for the balance, I don't know, you said balance the enrollment, but I checked the data in the past 10 years. The four school almost similar, like most, I think in 2019 or 20 sometime, Bowling have like about 900 students. At that time, no issue. Why now we need to rebalance? And also Smith and Larson and Baker almost have a similar amount of students. And what's the true benefit for like balance the enrollment? And also this balance will cause another unbalance. Like you have more students moving in Smith, where Smith's teacher can balance the more students. Are you going to hire more teachers to keep the same ratio? And also any resource be rebalanced. And we are looking for more information in the coming meeting. And also for my own, I still want my kids be in the path I select for her. I think that's very fit her personality. And another point is like a double split. I think each homeowner, they have the only way to go to middle school, high school, and elementary school. They do not have second choice. So when they purchase the home, they already select that for their kids. And right now, I think if you remove the double split, you delete some option for some families. I'm saying students have slower learner and fast learner. Slow note means not good. They still may be gift. Just need to find a good advantage for their kids to attend a good school that fit their kids. So that's my point. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope we can benefit all the students and the school, make the result, help each other, both teacher and the students and the families. Thank you.
Thank you. finishes our public comment section. Moves us to other. Have any other? Do I just go around?
Yeah, start with Nancy.
Dr. Philippart?
I really just, again, want to thank and acknowledge Mr. Hoff. I know this is his last meeting, and it's been mentioned by many in the audience, but thank you for your decades of service and everything that you have done for the children of Troy, of which there are probably some in the audience yes, that are now adults. So, and other than that, I really want to wish everyone a happy holiday, happy New Year. Congratulations to our new board members who will be joining us, and again, a deep thank you to our board members who will be leaving the board.
Mr. Hoff?
Yeah, you took my thunder. I was going to congratulate the new school board members as well. I believe they were sworn in earlier today, so congratulations on that. Welcome aboard. I also wanted to say a few words to Gary. I'm going to miss supporting your consent agendas over the years. It's been a pleasure to try and trick Carl a few times. And I also wanted to thank you for showing me the ropes, for the advocacy conference that I went to in DC, being able to introduce me to a lot of people. You've obviously been around that conference a while, so it's been nice to get to know you, and it was a pleasure working with you.
Thank you.
Ms. Salish?
I likewise want to wish everybody happy holidays and a happy new year. Nancy, Vitale, and myself were able to attend the swearing in of our new school board members, so I want to welcome them to the board as well, and they'll be joining us in January at the workshop. This will be Mr. Hoff's last meeting, and I want to say I've enjoyed serving with Gary, and I've learned a lot from him. I only had the opportunity to work with him for a short time of his very long tenure, but what I saw in that time was someone who truly cares for the district. Gary, in the time that I've served on the board, was a very steady hand who held a very long-term view of the work to be done. He has this ability to sit back and listen and ask the right questions, not many in numbers, but somehow always the right one and very well placed. I think it's a skill of yours that I really admire, and one that I've decided I'm going to work on myself. You're such a great cheerleader for the district, and you have really served this community faithfully for decades, and before the meeting we talked, and it's 5 decades plus. First in your professional capacity, and then also in this volunteer capacity. I will truly miss working with you, and I really appreciate the way that you've supported, myself and Matt as we came on the board.
Thank you.
Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. Secretary Huff, you want to go there?
I'd like to.
Yes.
Oh, he's going to address
He
it.
wants to go there and address the...
All right. He's going to get his 3 minutes.
Well, this is it. This is my final board meeting after 26 and a half years. It has truly been an honor of a lifetime to serve our great Troy community for over 52 years, with 26 years in the Troy Police Department and an equal amount of time here with the great Troy School District. But first, I would like to give special credit to a person who has stood by my side this entire time. My wife, Nancy. Come on up here. Special thanks now go out to my colleagues on the board, who are a very dedicated and committed group of individuals that truly care about all aspects of the Troy School District, its students, staff, and future growth. It truly takes honor, courage, and commitment to do this work. I also give thanks, special thanks, to the following people. Dr. Rich Macheski, our excellent superintendent. A Assistant Superintendents Christine DiPilato, Chris Griffor, John Pagel, Dan Trudell, and Kendra Montanti, Natalie Hazebrook, and the entire central office staff. Our entire staff at Rankin, especially Rob Carson and his hardworking staff, and our International Baccalaureate staff. I hope I didn't forget anyone. Additionally, I wish to thank our entire great teaching staff, our TEA, who are unequaled in the world, as they give their heart and soul to the students in our district every day. And certainly to the one person who I know that is the true shining star in the district, who makes this whole place the best organization in the world, Judy Holmes. Now, if I may make an analogy here, it's now the very bottom of the 9th inning in my tenure here, and I'm still at bat. So I want to make a few more points. Before this game is over, I want to assure you that my entire focus has never changed. I am and always have been and will be an advocate for our kids in this greatest school district in the state of Michigan. We have grown tremendously in student achievement, focusing on the good work that we refer to as One Troy. Our facilities have improved and have been carefully planned for the future. For example, our new early childhood center, the new and improved Baker Middle School, the new Smith Middle School, this building, the services building that was not even imagined when I first came on board in 1998. Not 1898, as some have would believe. And of course, the new Troy Learning Center. So as I now lumber around third base, and before I get waved in, using some more baseball lingo, let me close with these familiar words. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to love and a time for peace. My friends, this is my time to say again, thank you to everyone. It's not a goodbye, it's rather see you soon, see you later. So as I reach home, baseball calls it a walk-off. And that's just what I'm doing. And finally, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
As Secretary Huff comes in, Dr. Macheski, any other items?
No, I can't. I clearly can't top that. So I will not try, aside from just to say that I've been very fortunate to be in the school district now for over 15 years, and Gary has been a guiding light and someone who you can always count on to give good counsel. He comes in weekly, almost weekly, for a fireside chat, and I know that it's always something that's important, something that's on his mind. And when he says it's students first, he means it. He's demonstrated that in his decision making, and that is, board members have a tremendous amount to learn from his wisdom, the way he carries himself, and the exceptional way he has demonstrated what it means to be a board member over the last 26 years. So Gary, I thank you as a friend and as a colleague.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I don't know how I can top that either. So, but I want to start off saying thank you so much for everything you've done. I don't think there's no words that I can add more to what the other board members have said. A few things. One, first of all, I want to wish happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa to everybody who are going to celebrate very soon. A couple of things. We just found out this week that our Turtle Woods property has been approved a $2 million grant from the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund. This has been something we are working on. Previous board members here, President Smith, has been instrumental in trying to get that happen. So we are so thankful that that is finally happening. And the Oakland County Parks is going to take over and plan to convert that into a nature preserve for all of our residents. So I'm glad that's going to happen, and that's good news for this year. 2024 has had some challenging times, but we also had some good times. We broke ground for our new Smith Middle School, which is progressing very well, scheduled to start maybe a year from now, open up a year from now. We had a successful TEA contract, a 3-year contract, but we also have a lot of work ahead, many things that we want to take care of. But until then, happy holidays to everybody. And I guess I'm told that the next workshop is January 14th at Baker Middle School at 6 p.m. And then the January organizational and regular meeting is here on January 21st at 7 p.m. All right. And the meeting is adjourned?
Meeting is adjourned.
Great.
Thank you. Nice job.